Hello and welcome to Marni's Kitchen. I love St. Patrick's Day, and I had the extreme pleasure of interviewing Russ May from the New Brigade. That'll be coming out not next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. In the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, because we're getting close, I'm going to make two dishes. I'm going to make soda bread and I'm going to make shepherd's pie. I'm really excited about the soda bread. It should be fun and it's tasty and it's festive. It's a fun time of year and everybody has it. And I had the idea of cutting it into little shamrock shapes. I'm going to split the dough, maybe not in half, but partially, and make one loaf. And then I'm going to cut a couple out of with the shamrock cookie cutter and see how they turn out. Because I think that would be fun and festive for this time of year. So I try to be. Anyway, soda bread is super easy, supposedly. So we'll give it a whirl. But you need buttermilk, sugar, baking soda, hence the soda bread, a little bit of melted butter, a beaten egg, flour, all-purpose flour, and kosher salt. We're going to get started. I'm going to do this. And hopefully you listened to my podcast to give you a little bit of history about soda bread and shepherd's pie. And then, so this is my 2-for-1 special. So you get soda bread and then you'll get shepherd's pie. It'll be fun. All right. So the first thing you have to do is beat your egg and your buttermilk together. So I'm going to pour my buttermilk into my egg mixture. Okay. And I'm going to whisk it together. Make sure it's combined. Okay. And then I'm going to add my melted butter. Get it all in there. And I'm going to stir it together. This didn't seem like too daunting of a task, so I figured I could try to bring this to you guys. And plus, if the little shamrock shapes turn out well, I can sell it from Marni's Kitchen. So you don't have to make it. You can purchase it. That would be fun. Always try to make it fun. So I have my wet ingredients combined. Now I'm going to combine my dry ingredients. So my flour, my sugar, my baking soda, and my kosher salt. And I'm going to whisk them together to combine them. Okay, that's pretty whisked. Now I'm going to combine my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients and stir them together with a rubber spatula. Just be careful that you don't over stir, over blend. So I'm going to gently pour them in. Get out all that I can. Cute. And then I'm just going to fold it all together. And it should make a sticky dough. This is a super fun time of year. There's always, well, one, because you're looking forward to spring. Once you get over that February hump. January is a nice hump to get past. And then February, once you get over that hump, and March is around the corner, and then all the spring stuff starts happening, and it gets really exciting. And hopefully we won't have any more snow. They said the Farmer's Almanac predicted the one that we had in January and this past one that we had, and they said it's predicting one more in March. Well, let's hope it's either really early enough before St. Patrick's Day or a little after St. Patrick's Day so that we can all get out there and enjoy the holiday. All right, so this is pretty combined. The baking soda is what makes it rise. I learned a lot in my little history of soda bread and shepherd's pie. There wasn't too much on shepherd's pie. There was more on soda bread, but I just think it's all interesting and it's good to know where things come from. So now that my dough is somewhat combined and together, I'm going to lightly flour my hands and my surface because I am going to do a little bit of rolling, but only for the little bit that I'm going to try to make the shamrock pieces out. So I'm going to get my dough onto my floured surface. So I've pulled my dough out of the bowl, and now I'm just going to try to form it into a ball. And I'm going to knead it a little bit so that I can get it to try to stay together. Okay, that side's done. You just kind of roll it into itself a couple times to just make sure it stays combined. I'm going to put a little flour on this side. Okay. All right. Quick and easy. Hopefully it'll taste good. I'm going to cut off a little piece so I can roll it out. And see how that turns out. I thought it'd be a cute little idea. Okay, so I'm going to reshape this into a ball now that I've cut a little piece off. This is going to take longer to bake than the shamrock bread, so I'll have to keep an eye on it. This should take about 30 minutes or so, the ball, and then these should take only about 10-15 minutes. So this guy, I'm going to place on my parchment paper lined baking sheet. Well, let me make sure I can keep it as a ball. I formed my ball. And now that I have my, sorry, I'm going to gently place my dough onto the parchment paper. And then I'm going to score an X in the center because I think that makes it look pretty. And I'm going to sprinkle it with a little more flour up top. And then I'm going to put it in my preheated oven to 400 degrees. Now this guy, flattening it out like a disc. I'm going to lightly flour my surface and I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to cut out a couple little shapes. And we'll see how it goes. And I'll put a little flour. It's a little neat story behind this rolling pin. This was my grandmother's, and I get to use it a lot now. It's nice to get kitchen tools handed down from generation to generation because it just makes it that much more special. So I'm just rolling this out gently, about 1/4 inch thick. So I'm not going to make too many. And then I might make a little ball. You just take your time and roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it. I am not good at determining, I was going to say determining size, but that's what she said. But no, I'm not, I have like very little depth perception. Between that and my geographically challenged, I'm really fun to be a driver in the middle of nowhere. All right, so now I'm going to take my little cookie cutter and I'm going to cut out several shapes. Let's see how many we get. I only took a little bit. I'm going to gently peel away the dough. There's one. I'm gently lifting it and putting it on my parchment paper so it doesn't stick to anything. Whoop, that guy broke. That's okay. And this guy's a little mushy. All right, so just like pie crust or cookie dough or whatever you're using, you can always re-roll it out and see if you can get a couple more. Thought this would be a nice treat. I'm going to attempt shepherd's pie. I haven't made that in a very long time. If you listen to the podcast, you'll know that it did not turn out good. I've been wanting to make it for a while. That and duck. I've tried to make duck like 3 separate times. All 3 times. Blech. Did not turn out good. So, all right, I'm going to take my cookie cutter. I'm going to get a couple more out. Gently peel away the dough that is not going to be used. There we go. A little time consuming, but hopefully it's worth it. If you struggle, you can use a little spatula underneath. Hopefully we'll keep the shape. Okay. I got it. And then this. I guess this is where my patience comes in. When people say I'm patient. And I'm typically not. I'll tell you one thing I'm very impatient with is computer stuff and technology. I got no patience for it. I always said if I ever could afford, I would purchase, well, not purchase, but I would hire my own personal geek, because it's just not my thing. Don't like it. So I got 7. So I'm going to put these in the oven now. I have my little guy here, my little extra, and I'm going to imprint a shamrock. That's kind of cool. Let's see what that turns out like. It's fun to do things like that. Try something different. See? Got my little shamrock. So we'll see what it looks like. So it's all in the oven. Up next will be shepherd's pie. And then we'll see how everything turns out. Okay, I'm back. Soda bread's done. I'll pan over to a picture so you can see it. And we'll try it. We'll see how that turned out. They're cute, the little shamrock bread. They're cute. So we'll see. All right. So I'm now going to make my second in my lifetime attempt at shepherd's pie. So have a ton of ingredients. I'm doing it a little differently, just a little bit, because I've had it with the cubed beef and I like that texture in it. So I have my ground lamb and my little cubed beef. Chopped onion, beef broth, I got Worcestershire sauce, I got chopped garlic, I got tomato paste, pepper, ground mustard always, parsley, sea salt, thyme, and I have my peas and carrots that are not frozen, and my corn that's not frozen, and I also have my cornstarch slurry instead of adding flour, because I find that's easier so than putting flour in and never getting the flour to not clump and all that stuff. So the other thing, I do have my mashed potatoes made. So my daughter Elise is going to partake in this meal as well. And her preference is always the instant mashed potatoes. So I got no problem with that because I like them. Everything else I'm making. So it is what it is. So the instant mashed potatoes are done. They're ready to go into my dish. So now I'm going to start. So I put about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil in the pot, the pan, and I'm going to heat it. Probably not as hot as I normally would, right? So I'm going to put it on like 4, because remember my stove gets really hot. I'm doing it from this angle because my mother expressed to me in watching these shows that you cannot see me stir. My back is too much to the camera or my phone, and you can't see me stir. So I'm doing it from this angle, Mom. So I love you. So we can, and I do appreciate the feedback because she likes everything else she says, but she wants to see me in action. So I'm doing it this way from this angle so we can see me stir. So I'm just going to wait for this to heat up, and the first thing I'm going to add is my chopped onion. Okay, so my oil is warm enough. I'm going to add my onions. You can hear the sizzle. So I'm going to let them cook for a couple minutes till they get translucent, and I'm stirring. See, stir, stir. Okay, you're just cooking them until they're soft. And it takes, like I said, about 5 minutes or so. All right, so it has now been 5 minutes, roughly. I'm going to add the lamb, and I'm going to break it apart first. I've added the lamb and break it apart with my spoon so it gets crumbly. And then I'm going to add my beef cubes because I gotta break. You see that onion go flying? I'm gonna have to break this apart first. I'm really excited. I hope this turns out. Okay, it's pretty broken up for me. So now I'm gonna add the beef cubes as well to brown them. So now we're gonna cook all of these together, and I'm gonna add my seasonings. So I'm gonna add my ground mustard, because that's always yummy. Okay, I'm gonna add my salt. I'm gonna put that in my hand. Okay, that looks good. So that and that. I like to do it this way too because I keep an order so I know what I've added already so I don't grab something that I've already put in. Now I'm going to put my ground pepper, always fresh ground pepper. Well, not always, but most of the time. Okay. And then dried parsley. And some thyme. The recipe also called for rosemary and not ground mustard, but I didn't have any in the house, so just a little bit of thyme. There we go. Got too much time on my hands, apparently. And then you're just going to stir till everything's browned. And I will bring the pan over to show you once everything's brown. But I did like the texture of the little beef cubes. So hopefully they won't be too tough in here. That's always a fear of mine when I do that. When a crock pot cooks slow, they're always good. Beef cubes are browning. It looks yummy. Okay, I'm going to let that cook a little bit longer till my beef browns. My meat. Bel Air is always fun. In Harford County with St. Patrick's Day festivities, we have loonies and Sean Boland's and independent houses. The New Brigade, they play there too. So it's a nice little like triangle area where you can find a whole bunch of St. Patrick's Day festivities. Is a lot of fun. The music's good. Everybody's festive. They have parade down Main Street. So it's a nice time of year. These are pretty much browned and cooked through. So I'm going to bring it over to show you. So you can see it's easier for me to do it this way. See? Looks good, right? You could have this. I could be your personal chef and make an Irish meal for you. The next step is to add the Worcestershire sauce. Always shake it. Yeah, shake everything up. Even seasonings, which I don't do. Well, mixed seasonings. Just a couple splashes of Worcestershire sauce. And the minced garlic. So I'm going to add that too. And then stir and let it cook for like another minute. I always, it's funny. I always ask Brian if whatever bottle he takes out, if he's helping me or if he's making his own stuff or whatever. I'm like, did you shake it? And he's like, yeah, I shook it. So it's funny. So just for another minute. My next step is to add the tomato paste. Calls for about 2 tablespoons, so I can eyeball that roughly. And if it's a little more, it's a little more. More is better than less sometimes. Okay, that's the tomato paste. And then I have my cornstarch slurry. I mix the cornstarch with beef broth instead of water. So I'm adding that instead of flour as the thickener. And then stir. And you just want to stir enough that the tomato paste gets, like, kind of dissolves. And you don't see it anymore, really. Except a beautiful color. All right, so my next step now is to add the beef broth. I gave it 2 swirls because I have a little more meat than the recipe called for. So that should be about 2 cups, roughly. I'm also going to add my peas and carrots and my corn that's not frozen. And I'm going to bring it to a boil and then let it simmer for about 5 minutes. And then we will assemble it in the dish and put it in the preheated oven to 400 degrees. We'll put it in there to cook until the mashed potatoes are browned. So there we go. It does. It's lamb and beef cubes. So I turned it up to bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to turn it down to a simmer and let it sit for a couple minutes, and then we'll do the assembly. Did it look good too?
Yeah, look, these are so cute.
Yeah. All right, so now it is boiling. So I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer, and I'm going to stir occasionally, and it should thicken up. If not, I can always add a little more cornstarch slurry. That's the beauty of that. If you use that instead of flour, because I've done it with flour before, and it's once you get to like this point to add more flour, never works for me. Might work for you, but never works for me. So I'm gonna let it simmer and thicken. I'm just letting some of the broth cook down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna put it in the dish. But it has thickened up enough for me that I don't need to add more cornstarch. I do find the cornstarch much easier than the flour. Oh, that smells so good.
It really does smell good.
Mm-hmm.
I started smelling it in my room, and I was like, oh, it's time to go upstairs.
Can I put that on? Like your voice?
Yes.
Okay.
You can put my voice on.
Okay.
But I'm not camera ready.
You're always camera ready to me, darling. Darling.
Well, I am originated from you. So.
You did originate from me, but what did
I?
I said I forgot what I had said, that you are already camera, but that doesn't mean I'm always camera ready.
Oh.
I'm not saying I'm always camera ready, but you're always camera ready for me. Yes. You and Jenny. Jenny yonder in Carroll County right now. I know. I'm excited. We had some delays in celebrating Brian's birthday, so we're finally getting. He and I had dinner this past weekend with his daughter and her girlfriend, and then this Friday, my daughter Jenny's coming, and Elise will be there, and then his son and his son's girlfriend, they'll all be there. So we get a couple dinners. Brian got a couple dinners. Month-long celebration. It's always fun. Huh. All right. This is now thick enough for me, so I'm going to assemble my shepherd's pie. So I'm going to bring this over to you so you can see. Okay? And then I'm going to, I don't know if it all will fit in this dish, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to layer it. Oh, that looks so good. See, Mom, you can see me doing stuff. She did. She commented. That is her feedback. She's like, I can't see what you're doing. I want to see you stir. So now everybody gets to see me stir. That's what she said. I'm going to use a rubber spatula, and I'm going to put the potatoes on top, and then I'm going to carefully spread them as best as I can. This is pretty funny. Let me see. I have a feeling this is going to turn out better than it did several years ago. I just have that vibe. Okay, so I have layered my mashed potatoes on top of the meat, and I'm going to put it in the oven and bake until the mashed potatoes get brown. It's in a nice green celebratory St. Patrick's Day dish, and then I think it takes about 30 30, 40 minutes, something like that. And then you let it sit for about 15 minutes and then you serve and eat. So we will share that with you later. All right, so as promised, I do have the finished shamrock shaped soda bread, which looks really yummy. And then I have my loaf, which also looks really yummy. That looks beautiful, I think, for me especially. I'm just going to try one of the shamrock ones because that's too big for me. I'm not cutting it. I don't want a whole big piece of bread. So I'm going to try one, and I'm going to let you know how it tastes. I'm good. I'm really good. And they're so super cute. Yep. All right. Well, job well done. And there we go. So thank you again for watching. And tune in for the pièce de résistance.